Hi, I'm Skip Nipper, and welcome back to Baselines. This is part 2 of my interview with former Milwaukee Brewers pitcher Jerry Bell. And I hope you enjoyed hearing his story in part 1. In part 2, he continues to tell about all the good things that have come his way with baseball. So, enjoy Jerry Bell once again, and thanks for coming to Baselines.
So immediately I called my dad, and good memory.
Oh, I bet it is.
The toughest batter that I faced as far as trying to get him out was Rod Carew. No question about it. He could hit any pitch, and I remember in our pitcher-catcher manager meetings before the games, they were going through the Minnesota lineup, and they just kind of skipped over Rod Carew. And I was pitching that night, and I said, wait a minute, how do we need to pitch Rod Carew? And I never will forget, Dale Crandall said, if you throw it low and behind him, you're probably going to have better luck. He could just hit anything. And I guess according to the stats on, batters that I faced and everything, I guess I probably had more success against Buddy Bell. I don't think he got a hit in 10 or 12 at bats or something like that. Short sample size, yeah. But
You mentioned the Twins. How about Harmon Killebrew?
Harmon Killebrew. Well, that's another story. But first time I went into the Minnesota Stadium there, of course the bus gets there a little bit early, so we're just kind of milling around before we get on the field for batting practice and this kind of thing. So I went through one of the tunnels just to look at the stadium atmosphere and all that. And there was an usher there. And I looked out in the outfield, and there was a lot of seats that were painted a different color. I think all their seats were blue, except there was some either red or bright orange seat backs way out in the outfield there. And I asked the usher, I said, why are those seats painted a different color? And he said, that's where Mr. Killebrew has hit some of his home runs. I said, okay, thank you. That's all I need to know. But had good success. I don't think Killebrew didn't hit a home run against me. I didn't face him that many times, but there's a story that is a true story. I thought I had him struck out, one at bat. It was 3-2 count, and I threw a slider that was down and away. And it was on the plate. As far as I'm concerned, it caught the plate, but the umpire called it a ball, and he walked. And so I showed a little bit of disgust, not necessarily with the umpire's call, but that maybe I just missed a little bit. And Ron Luciano was the umpire, and he took his mask off and kind of walked out toward the mound, and he said, son, Mr. Killebrew will let you know when it's a strike. Thank you, sir.
Now, I've got to ask you about this one. July the 9th, 1973 at County Stadium. Now, you know where I'm going with this. Bevacqua batted for Shaw, and Bevacqua homered. That sound about right? I mean,
yes.
It's from retro sheet, so it's right.
Grand slam home run.
Then the next batter was who?
The next batter was Fran Healy, their catcher.
And on 3 straight pitches,
And Jerry Bell had basically lost his mind at that point. They were just hitting anything I threw. There was nothing I could throw that wasn't going to be hit hard. And I knew there was already somebody warming up in the bullpen to come in. So I was pretty much done at that point. But I did let my temper get the best of me and kind of went over the line there. So I threw at Fran Healy. And he charged the mound. Both dugouts emptied, bullpens, everything. Just a major, I think it ended up being an AP wire photo in every major newspaper in the United States, just all across the paper there, but with, 75 people on the field out there squaring off or whatever. But no blows were thrown. Actually, I backed up behind the mound, and Fran tried to swing a haymaker at me and kind of tripped over the pitching rubber. And I think he kind of went over to the right. And about that time, Kurt Bevacqua, who was a friend of mine, he had been a teammate, he had just been traded, I think, the winter before, to Kansas City from Milwaukee. So I knew him very well. Wasn't really a home run hitter, you know, so I was a little bit disgusted at that, obviously. But he, the next thing I knew, he had tackled me, and we were kind of on the ground, and Kurt said, I'm not going to hit you. He said, let's just roll around here on the ground and make people think we're fighting or whatever, and said, make it look good. So that was fine with me. So, but I ended up getting fined. You know, I think the ball club fined me $50 or something like that for getting ejected. But that's the only time I was ejected from a major league game.
Well, you spent parts of 4 seasons with the Brewers. And then you went on to Salt Lake City, or maybe Sacramento.
Sacramento first, and then Salt Lake City in 74.
Yeah.
And then 75, I was in San Antonio and Oklahoma City, which they were. Salt Lake City was an Angels farm club, so they optioned me there in 74. And then in 75, the Brewers were in San Antonio, but the Salt Lake City team was an Angels team. And let's see, Oklahoma City was Cleveland Indians team. So once you get sent down, they can option you. You know, there might be another franchise that maybe needed a pitcher or a player, and so they would just do an option you there. So I was still property of the Milwaukee Brewers, but my contract had just been optioned to those minor league teams.
And then how did it end, Jerry?
Well, it ended not because I was injured or anything like that. The only problem I ever had with my arm my whole career was I had a couple of weeks where I had tendonitis in my elbow, just had to miss a start or miss some appearances and everything. And my back had gotten straightened out at that time. I'd had 2 surgeries for herniated disc at that time, but it was straightened out. So I was just at that point, starting to figure out, how to pitch in the big leagues and facing the hitters more times and this kind of thing. And so in 75, they sent me a contract that winter. Milwaukee did, and they wanted to send me to Williamsburg, Virginia, which I think at that point, that's when they had started their AA club. I think that was a AA franchise. I had 3 kids at the time. My kids were little. The oldest was ready to start school, and we had just bought a house here in Mount Juliet, actually. And my wife said, well, I think looking back, in 74, we moved 6 times in 7 months with 3 little kids.
Wow,
and
wow.
So it was just, but I felt like, you still got the stuff going, the adrenaline pumping, and you're starting to figure some things out. So I was ready to go ahead and continue my career. But a wife and I discussed it, and she said, you can sign this contract and go do what you got to do, try to make it back to the big leagues. Because I had less than 4 years. You had to have 4 full seasons in to be vested in the pension plan.
Right.
And I was a little bit short of that at that point. So I called, I take that back, Skip. Williams, this contract was from the Cleveland Indians.
I see.
So they had already optioned me to the Cleveland organization because I finished at Oklahoma City the summer before.
Yeah.
And so they wanted me back, but they wanted me to start back in the minor leagues again. So I called Bob Quinn. This was probably December or January, a month or so before spring training started. And I called Bob Quinn, who was the general manager of the Cleveland Indians, and he had been with the Brewers for a while, so I kind of knew him a little bit. And I said, I won't take up this spot on the AA roster for a younger kid. I said, if you guys will invite me to spring training, I know I'm not on the 40-man Cleveland Indians roster that is automatic invite to spring training. But I said, if you'll invite me to spring training, I'll try to make the Major League club. I know y'all need Major League experience. Cleveland and Milwaukee had finished at the bottom of the division for several years in a row there, and he said no. He said we can't invite you.
Huh.
So on the same phone conversation, I invited myself. I said, you won't have to pay me any meal money out there. I said, I'll pay my own expenses out there if you'll just give me 2 or 3 weeks to get in shape and see if I can make the major league club. And if I don't, I'll come back home. Y'all won't be out a dime, and I won't take up a spot on the minor league roster. But they wouldn't invite me, so I had a real tough decision to make there.
Yeah, sure you
and
did.
So I just turned down the contract and stayed home.
Yeah. And then you went to work where?
Oh gosh, at that point I started to get into home health care and that kind of thing, and got acquainted with a gentleman who was ready to invest. And that's when home health care was just getting started, and hospital beds and wheelchairs into people's homes, because they were being cared for in the home. And so we started a company. I was part owner of the company at that point, so that's what got me started into medical sales and home health care and this kind of thing. So I ended up having a long career in that.
I see. Now you're retired now?
Yes.
But you're coaching.
Yes.
In fact, you said that you played for Post 82 in American Legion ball.
Right.
And so how did you get reconnected back into American Legion ball?
Well, I had an offer to come on to the American Legion Baseball Committee a few years back. This was probably just a few years after I retired, and because they had put the information about the Post 82 team from 1966 on the American Legion website. And so I'd gotten a call from somebody at the National Committee for American Legion Baseball wanting me to get involved. They wanted more ex-pro players to be involved, with American Legion Baseball. So I got involved with Post 82 again. At the time, Post 82 had been out of American Legion Baseball for several years. And so they didn't really want to get back into baseball. And so I got in touch with Donaldson Post 88, the people there. I joined their Sons of the American Legion organization, which is part of the Legion, for non-veterans whose father was a veteran, this kind of thing. My father fought in World War II. But so that's how I kind of got involved again. And travel ball has really hurt American Legion baseball. When I played in 65 and 66, there were 60 to 75 American Legion teams, and now in Tennessee, we're fortunate to have 18 to 20 teams, and that's in three age groups. Yeah. So it is trying to grow a little bit since we've added a 15-year-old division. It's 19 and under, 17 and under, and 15 and under. So I'm still on the committee there, and I still coach it because I'm a patriot, and I just believe in the community service that these kids are offered by the local American Legion Post. They can do some community service projects and sell Christmas trees, under the Legion name and this kind of thing. So it's a real good, feel-good, patriotic type thing, and that's the reason I've stayed involved.
Well, speaking of community service, you're so involved with Old Timers, always been supportive of that, and that's an organization that raises money, gives it away in scholarships. You've always been a part of that, getting that word out and encouraging some players in the high school ranks to apply for that, and involved with sponsoring our golf tournament, being a part of that too. But your community service extends beyond the American Legion because you're still coaching high school, assisting in coaching high school. Mm-hmm. And we have a brand new high school here in Mount Juliet, Green Hill, and you are the pitching coach,
yes,
as I understand, for the spring. If everything goes well, you'll be on the sidelines once again in the high school.
If COVID doesn't push it back. Yeah. I'm excited about that opportunity. The school is fantastic. The campus is just huge, and I was up there actually Monday to look at the progress on our field, and it's probably not going to be ready until maybe November, something like that. And we have a large indoor facility that's being put together right now as far as turf inside and the cages and all that. But it's really exciting to me to be on the ground level for this brand new school. And of course, when they did the redistricting, we inherited some talent, some baseball talent from Mount Juliet High School,
Right.
who were zoned for the new school. We've set some standards for the culture of building this program over there that kids are already starting to buy into.
Terrific. Well, that's great. Congratulations on that new opportunity for you. Are you going to be throwing batting practice?
Probably will a little bit in the cage.
Not a kid over there named Healy, is there?
No, there's not a kid named
Fred Healy's relatives.
No, that
He's no
would have already brought up some bad memories. But
well, I want to mention your dad. His name was Blackie Bell, known by Blackie Bell. He was a great City League player,
yes,
well known in the Nashville area, and for DuPont, for their teams. And then I want to mention your wife and your kids. Your wife's name is
Susan.
Susan, and you have how many children?
I have 3 children. Jennifer, Jeffrey, and Stephanie are twins.
And grandkids.
And grandkids. Oh, Mark, Jarrett, Haley, Mallory, and Emily. 5 grandkids. And I have Heartland and Rosalie are my great-granddaughters.
God bless you. That's great. That's great. Well, Jerry, you've been a delight. I'm grateful that we had this chance to get together and have a little conversation about your career. And congratulations once again on Green Hill. And I'm glad we're old timers together.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. I enjoyed it.
It was great. Thank you, Jerry.